can't get no rest. No, no. I've been down so long that my mind can't get no rest. No, no. This ain't easy, darling, 'cause the devil's on my trail. I've been running so long that my feet don't work no more. Oh yeah, I've been running so long that my feet don't work no more. Oh no, it ain't easy, darling, when the devil's on my trail. Oh yeah.
Welcome, everyone, to today's talk about the National League Central. I mean, another episode of 6 Feet Apart with Sean and TJ. Brought to you today by, put my glasses on, make sure I get all our sponsors in, Baptist Health, the law office of Yance, Sherman, and Driscoll, and Mr. Brent and Mayor Jan Yance, Central City Tourism, Clinic Pharmacy, Farmers Bank and Trust, and First Southern National Bank. Big thank you to all our sponsors, as always. Our guest today is Muhlenberg County High School Mustang Athletic Director, Mr. Jerry Hancock.
How's it going, Jerry?
Hey guys.
H, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
It's nice to have some conflicting interests here to have a little bit of discussion.
Well, as I figured you were a Cubs fan, so I wore Cardinals, and then we got an outlier, the Reds. You know, they have been good since I was a kid.
Hey,
Right.
Big red machine.
we were
Right.
going to be good on paper this season.
What on paper hadn't won anything. My good friend.
It may,
true.
It may all wind
This
up
is
just
true.
being on paper if they don't get it figured
You and
out.
Robbie Davis and some Cub fans, I guess. You know, y'all always look forward to the season, and you always look forward to it ending.
I'm just glad
I
we don't have to
can't-
look forward to next year as much as we used to after finally getting off the schneid after 108 years. So
That's true. That's true.
I guess I can't really argue with that. We haven't been good, I don't know, for a while.
But on paper, you were going to be pretty decent, I think.
Are they going to play this year, you think?
I think they will. Of course, in anything, it gets down to money.
Right.
So I think we will end up playing, I'm guessing, 65 games.
65?
Yep.
write that
Because,
down.
yeah, the players are not willing to give up any of their money as far as prorating. Owners are afraid of losing money. I think the last players thing was, I don't know, 89 games. The owners offered 45, so I figure they'll meet in the middle somewhere.
So fans, no fans.
No fans,
No
I would
fans,
say,
right.
especially at first. And I guess it's kind of like with anything, we're kind of living a week at a time,
Right.
2 weeks at a time, figuring out what we can do, what we shouldn't do.
Yeah, by the time it gets through those 65 games or whatever
Yeah.
and gets to
Yeah.
playoff time.
Exactly. And who knows? I noticed, I think it's NASCAR is going to allow 5,000 fans this weekend for one of their events.
This depends on the track. And
That depends on
city.
track. And I would say each state is different, at least from what I've seen. So they all have different restrictions and things. I know Florida and Texas have kind of opened up and let everything go. So a lot of people now are going to those venues to play games.
But they're not talking about like a hub city anymore.
No.
It's going to be home
Right.
parks. So
Right. It's going to be home parks. Of course, NBA, I think, is going to Orlando,
Right.
keeping all their people there. I miss sports. You know, that's been my life growing up is
Yeah.
sports, and I have really, really missed sports.
it's kind of been fun to watch games that you already know the outcome of
Yeah.
and watch them with a different perspective years later. But I'm ready
Right.
for some live sports.
I am too.
I've watched enough sports documentaries that I'm ready to just see the real thing, you know.
Well,
Just-
last night I watched 2003 episode on ESPN of Louisville Marquette,
right.
and I was like, I remember watching this back in the day, but I noticed different things this
Sure.
time.
Right.
So
I watch the every year, even when sports when it's normal. Watch the Kim Burns' baseball documentary every year
I have the book.
in getting ready for baseball season. I love that one. That's probably my all-time favorite.
Just watch it really slow this year. So that
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I've already
watch
already
it 5
watched
minutes
all.
at a time.
I've already watched all 10 episodes or whatever. So
Yeah. Repeat. They're going back and doing another spring training, so you can do it again.
that's true.
Well, we've talked about sports nationally. What about locally? What can you tell us?
Locally, we are starting Monday. We're going to start opening up a little bit. Be able to do conditioning, plyometrics, anything to condition yourself.
And that's Monday, June 15th.
That's Monday, June
Okay.
15th. We will check temperatures that come in. We sign everybody in. They go in. They'll work out for probably 9 players, 1 coach. They'll work out probably 45 minutes to an hour. They'll leave. Then maybe the next 9 come in. We try to leave enough room where we got time to sign everybody in. When they leave, they have to sign out. And part of all that is for the covoid tracing. If somebody was to come up, we've got records in of
Who was there at that
who's
time?
there and all that. So
Is that for indoor and outdoor activities?
all indoor activities are outdoor now.
Okay.
As of yet, we're not allowed to use gymnasiums and stuff
Okay.
like that. So, such as volleyball, Tabby will be taking them outside and doing running, core work. I'm sure agility movements, everything she can figure out to do, and based on hour for training. And let's be honest, most of the kids probably sit on the couch and been eating chips since March. Well, most
Guilty.
everybody.
Yeah.
Guilty.
So
yeah.
a lot of them have not done anything.
Right.
So we've got to get them acclimated, not only to the heat, but just get back in shape some. Then hopefully around the 29th, we can start expanding a little bit. We'll see. Just wait on the governor's update.
It's like pro sports. I mean, you can't just say, let's open the season next week and everybody's ready to go.
Right.
Because
'Cause
even professional athletes, I'm sure, have not been,
training like they should, maybe.
Yeah.
Or
it's not like they're in season.
they're not with their athletic trainers and
I noticed that, I don't remember now what sport, it may be football, that the players can be there. 10 players as a group can be there, but the coaches can't be there yet. But you got certain guys that are organizing workouts and they're coming in and working out. Right. And I know a lot of the baseball facilities are open, especially in Florida spring training stuff.
right.
You got players who will go there and they've been training, even though nobody knows it, they've been training for a while.
So local training and practicing, and I've been asked a few times to ask you and see if we can find out. And there's a lot of people wondering. There's not any public fields really open in the county, so
Right.
you've got travel teams and Babe Ruth teams playing in other districts or whatever that are looking for a place to practice. Will the school fields be open to them as well?
I wish it gets into liability,
Right.
things like that. So as of right now, and we've discussed this many times, as of right now, basically if our kids are not playing there, we're not going to have anybody there, because if you do, then you got to start all the cleaning, which you're already doing anyway, but it'd be more cleaning. And we just have a lot more restrictions, I think, than
Okay.
other people. But I had rather be safe than sorry.
Right.
So
You've probably gotten those phone calls or questions.
I've got a lot of them. A lot of them.
Everybody's still trying to figure it out. And when you're in charge of groups and teams,
Yeah.
it's even more confusing. We sort of dove right into it, but let's backtrack a little bit. And we usually start things off with a
True.
segment we call Bridging the Gap,
Okay.
where we let people get a little more than 6 feet away from you and get a little closer and learn a little bit more about you. So whatever you're comfortable sharing, tell us about Jerry Hancock,
Okay. I grew up down the road here in Pirate.
the motherland.
Yeah. Growing up, we were very, very poor. And I know people don't realize this in times now. I grew up with the outhouse till I was about 9, 10 years old. Now we were better off than a lot. We had a 2-holer,
You're right. right.
but
That's uptown.
That is
we
uptown.
had a well for running water. And then as Wood Muhlenberg County, my father got on with coal mines, and money and time started getting a little bit better during that time.
You got 3-holers there.
Right.
Yeah. I enjoyed my time at school and being around people like Dale Todd, Sammy Sparks, Wendell Brown back when I was playing. And of course, Dale was my coach my senior year. But how much they cared. My favorite teacher was always Dorothy Martin. Loved Dorothy Martin. I learned so much from that. You really don't even realize you're learning. Then as you get older, think, I learned that from them, or I picked that up from them. And I think my love of sports came from coaches I had.
Now you played basketball and
I played basketball, ran cross country, and a little bit of baseball. I didn't play my last couple of years. I was kind of like the manager, because back then, if you were on the basketball team, you were on the you played everything. We only had 3 sports.
Yeah.
So you played everything, and I was probably average, a little below average baseball player, but I loved being around them because all those were the guys I was with. And the year after I graduated, and I will say it's, my dad wanted me to work on cars and do this and that, and I guess that's the reason I didn't. And I went to sports because I found out in sports I could be my own person, do my own thing. I would like run from Powerly to Old MC, and we'd climb up the gutters to get in, shoot ball, and just, you know, it was fun. It was
Because the
different. Back in
windows
those
were never
days.
closed in that gym.
Yeah. But when I got out of high school, I got the opportunity with Ronnie Harper to start coaching middle school boys. Fell in love with it. And then a little bit later, Sam Sparks asked me to be girls assistant there. So I really started coaching at 18. And after a couple of years, I was kind of like the head middle school coach. And I did that for a while, then started helping Sammy. And I guess the rest is history. I ended up being his assistant and loved every bit of it. And I'm I guess a sports, there's not a sport I can think of that I can't sit down. I even like curling.
I love curling.
There's not a
love
sport that I don't like. It's not a sport that I don't like. I keep up with all sports. So,
Is there one in particular that you like to play that?
Playing was basketball. Watching is baseball and hockey. Love hockey. I like the NBA real well during playoffs. Love March Madness for the college teams. I watch a lot of college baseball, or used to. Hopefully we'll be able to do it again. And I'm somewhat of a football fan, pretty big. It was really odd. I grew up being a Los Angeles Rams fan back when they were in LA to begin with. You had a guy by the name of Roman Gabriel, who's their quarterback, Deacon Jones, Merlin Olsen. That's the guys I grew up with. And then lo and behold, they moved to St. Louis for a while. I liked them even more because I started going to some of their games. And now they're back, and I'm still a Rams fan. So
They've made the tour.
yeah. And it's real odd because now, and I may be mistaken, I think especially the young people now, they follow players instead of, I think when we grew up, I've always been a St. Louis Cardinal fan. I've always been a Louisville fan. I've always been an LA Ram fan. I've always been a St. Louis Blues fan as far as the major sports we,
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we followed teams, and our favorite players were from those teams.
Right.
Instead of,
But of course, back in the day, you stayed on that same team almost forever.
Yeah.
So, and now it's become more of a business side of it, where they go try to build a great team. Like you come play with me, and we'll win a championship. Yeah. And I'm kind of old school. I'd rather root for the team,
Right.
and be with them instead of the individual players.
yeah, I know a lot of Patriots fans from the last 20 years that are suddenly Buccaneers fans.
Amazing,
So,
isn't it?
Not quite with them on that one.
Yeah.
I've been a Cowboys fan since.
But that's kind of my
70s,
road of where I've got to now, I guess. And to be honest, in school, I wasn't the smartest. I was fringe of being in trouble a lot. And believe it or not,
Shocker.
Surely not.
Shocker.
I'm glad I was sitting down
yeah.
for that one.
And I still have people, friends of mine and older people that we never would have thought you'd done this. We thought, we figured worse for you. But I think it just goes to show with good people around you, guiding you. And if you will listen to them some, you can go on beyond, I guess, what expectations is of yourself sometimes and others around you.
So then what did you teach when you came
Uh,
to the district?
When I first started, health PE,
Mhm.
and I had a history minor. So we ended up having a little history shortage. So I was doing part history, part PE. Then the last few years, I was all history pretty much.
The history of PE.
The history of
The
PE.
history of PE. And when I taught people, we would do that. Like if we were studying baseball, we would first learn the history of baseball. I mean, we'd go back to Abner Doubleday when it started and all the little things they had then. Like a lot of people, in wiffle ball, you throw the ball and get somebody out. They used to do it in baseball.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yes,
And a
they
lot of
did.
people don't realize that. That
They
was
sure did.
part of the game then.
Yeah.
So, but I've always loved sports, and I guess that's why I've been around for 30 years now.
Jeez.
I know it.
We're barely 30 years old. So.
I know it.
I mean, then Sammy, if you were under Sammy must be ancient. Then,
Oh,
right?
Sammy's real old.
Sammy's old, right?
Yeah, definitely old.
That's for you, Sam.
Yeah.
That's 30 years.
30 years.
So you've seen a change or two.
I have seen a tremendous amount of changes.
Have you ever seen anything like the current situation?
No, and I've discussed that with other people. I mean, I lived through Vietnam. I lived through women's rights movements. Martin Luther King, which is one of my all-time favorite people. I've lived through a lot and got to see so many advances. It's amazing. Sometimes just to think about where we are now compared to where we were then. I can remember growing up, we had nothing but a landline, and we were on a party line.
Right. Yeah.
When the phone would click, you knew that some of the old ladies up the street were talking. Well, I would try to pick it up. One of them would always say, "Is this that little Hancock boy again?" And I would slam the phone down.
But again, not exactly a shocking revelation. But,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
that's classic. It's for the fall. Are we scheduling things? Are we planning on things? What's it looking like?
I feel like, and I think Coach too, right now we're planning just like we were going to be regular. That's what we're hoping for. And so right now we have not canceled any games. We are trying to get our practices and all that geared up towards the playing of games. But to be honest, me, just like anybody else, right now we don't have those answers.
Right.
So we're hoping for the best. Yeah. We're hoping for the best. This year, I hate it for our seniors, especially, the group of spring sports seniors. We had a good group in a lot of different sports. I hated they missed. It was odd because I felt their pain because my youngest son just graduated from Transylvania. Well, of course, we couldn't do graduation. He was going to run track this year again. Couldn't run track. Then my oldest son, May 10th, got married with 10 people. Mm-hmm. So they had this big elaborate. So I've missed a wedding, a graduation, and a sport. And I know a lot of people seem bitter about it. I'm not bitter. They had the opportunities, and they still got married. And I understand the other side, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And if it was only me, I think going through it, I'd look at it different. But it's the whole world.
Right.
So that kind of eases it a little bit, the sting of it.
Yeah, when you've got to worry about friends and family and aging relatives and all those things.
Oh yeah,
you got to look beyond yourself. I'm kind of the same way. I'd probably just go.
Yeah.
But when you think about grandkids and grandma all on the opposite ends of the spectrum, you got to worry about all those things. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that things are whatever normal will be for the fall, and we can.
Well, and like I said, we're gonna start just like we're gonna be playing. Hopefully, we will. And I just hope that eventually we're able to have fans.
Yeah.
Because that's something usually the start of a basketball game or a football game, I mean, we're from $500 to $800 in the hole before the game starts because of officials and paying other people we pay. So if we had to do this without fans, I'm not sure how many high schools can absorb that.
Right.
And I'm not sure we can because our transportation costs so much. And I know you guys and everybody else heard, well, what are we going to do about putting kids on buses? We don't know. I mean, if we take our football team to play somewhere and we've got 50 kids, we're looking at only putting 12, 14 on each bus.
Right.
Well, we can't really afford that.
Yeah, you can triple or beyond the number of buses.
Yeah, so I mean the same issues that Major League Baseball is having with trying to pay and be financially stable and all this. We're having the same fight here.
Oh yeah,
it's the same thing because it's not going to be fans at a Reds game buying $10 hot dogs. How do they afford to do it? And if you can't charge $5 for people to come in and watch the game, it's the same thing.
We don't have TV revenue here exactly that to make up any of that. So.
No.
Yeah, but
and that's something
TV
that
revenue doesn't make up Mike Trout's salary.
Yeah, true.
I don't know that it will be this year, just because of the unknown. But I think we've got to start looking at maybe live streaming some of our games. Eventually, probably go to ticketless check-ins. Like if you want to come in, you can use a credit card or something like that, where the money doesn't have to change hands. So we're looking at all those things, but it probably won't be this year implemented because we don't know what this year holds.
Right.
Well, in the live streaming, it's already being done. BJ Cotton live streams every
softball
game. And we did a couple baseball games last year.
Well, the difference is we would have to do it and sell you a subscription. And I hate to do that because, especially if we can't have fans come to the game, we would have to end up doing it and sell subscriptions, and we'd have just a little bit of revenue coming in.
We look at college athletic departments that are cutting programs.
Sports,
and
yeah.
sports out with it.
We're in of course, I wasn't around then. Just a couple of years. The last time we had anything like this, I guess, was Spanish flu,
Right.
and that killed
Sammy
a lot
was
of people.
around then, though, right?
Sam was definitely, yeah. Sam was part of all that.
You lob that one up.
Yeah.
Swung away.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I think that's a good time to take a little break and reach out to our sponsors again. And we'll be back with more with Athletic Director Jerry Hancock. Welcome back to 6 Feet Apart with Sean and TJ. Thanks again to our sponsors today, Baptist Health, the law office of Yance, Sherman, and Driscoll, and Mr. Brent and Mayor Jan Yance, Central City Tourism, Clinic Pharmacy, Farmers Bank and Trust, and First Southern National Bank. Big thank you to them and all of our sponsors for all the good that they do us here and helping make the arts accessible to everyone. We appreciate all that they do year in and year out, especially a year like this. So we will once again say thank you to our sponsors. We're back with Muhlenberg County High School Athletic Director, Mr. Jerry Hancock. I guess MCHS has always been sort of natural for you to write down.
MCHS has been natural almost all my life.
Yep.
So it's been, and a county is very, and I think you guys will understand this, once you're in the school system for so long, and of course I've got ex-students who now have grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had 3 generations come through since I've been a part of all this. So I know the whole county,
Right.
feels like. And I really, we talk about MCHS, but I really kind of breathe and die with that. I've been such a big part of Muhlenberg County that I have so much pride for it. I want to see us, keep getting better. So hopefully we can start moving forward and make a lot of changes and make everything better for the whole county.
Yeah.
So
It's got to be great having that history to see the improvements in facilities and what's available, the different sports that are available now to all the students.
Oh, yeah.
Growing up, talking about the windows never being open there at Muhlenberg Central, or never being closed at Muhlenberg
Right.
Central, and climbing up through
Yeah.
doors and look at the facilities we have here now, the stadium out here, the track, and all those things. It's got to warm your heart a little bit.
it does. It's kind of fun. Of course, I started climbing in the gym, I guess, my 8th grade freshman year. Well,
Not that we condone any of these activities.
no, it was
statute of limitations is around.
exactly. But I can remember I would do it, and one day there was a record player in there, just sitting on the scoreboard. I was like, "Why is that here?" So next week I brought some records.
No,
Huge.
wait. What records did you bring?
I'm a huge Earth, Wind, and Fire fan.
Right.
I've been to see them about 9 times. Of course, I liked them, the Commodores. I'm more of a rhythm blues guy. I did like Kiss and some of those groups. But usually when I went to shoot, I would put my big record on, and I would shoot and shoot and shoot. When it was over with, I'd flip it over because you had songs on the other
Yeah,
side.
the B-side, yeah.
Yeah. So I would do that. And I finally figured out, though, my principal back then was Perry Hill, great man. Anyway, he comes in and says, "Jerry, if you'll come knock on the door," or a lot of times the door's open, just come in that way. You had to climb up there. He said, and I set the record player after I figured you wanted something to do while you shot.
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah. And he never had told me any of that. Just one day we were talking, and he tells me, this is like, "I knew you were climbing in the window," but it wasn't a big deal then. Things have changed so much.
Right.
Jerry Hancock was the first American Ninja Warrior. Who knew?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that you're involved with here in the county that's been going on for several years now is the Muhlenberg County Athletic Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And, tell us a little bit more about how
Well-
that came about and who's involved.
Well, it's something very, very dear to my heart. We started talking about it, golly, several years ago. Dean Rowe, of course, is a big part of it. And he and I have talked, I guess, the last 20 years about getting it started. And I guess when I became the athletic director, I thought this is something I can head up. So with the help of Dean Rowe, Freddie Mays, Eddie Lewis, Mark Bowers, and Brad Devine, we've got this thing going, and it's been very successful. And it's been so neat going back and finding out countyans that we knew nothing about that played a huge role
Yeah.
in sports in Muhlenberg County.
There's somebody in that class every year that I'm like, really? They're actually from,
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing.
And I know a lot of people say, well, won't you put this in there? A lot of it is we waited so long. I mean, they were playing in the early 1900s here in the county. So we're trying to find and dig up all we can because we got to go from basically the start and work our way back. And a lot of people understand it, a lot don't. But we feel like we got to take care at least of all of our early people. We got a lot of catching up still to do on that. Plus try to throw in some more modern day, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's a good mix
from
every year.
70s on and like that.
It didn't. Athletics here didn't just start in 1970.
Right.
You got to go back and you can't leave those people out.
Yeah, because some of those stories prior to 19 are just absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah,
They're amazing.
Like the gentleman Sherman Armstrong.
Yes.
And I cannot just off the top of my head, that would be Mark Bowers. Mark Bowers is an encyclopedia of knowledge as far as sports.
Mr. Mustang.
Mr. Mustang, and
Yeah.
he can give you stats on just anybody just off the top of his head
He
like
can
that.
do it.
And I'm not like that. But Sherman Armstrong, of course, he's been passed away for several years. But when we contact his daughter and other people that are in Florida, here, there, and everywhere, they are thrilled to death. And a lot of them are very, very humbled by it. They're like, you're picking me? Why? Then we go over all stuff. I've never thought about myself like that. Or we end up doing a posthumous, which is the person already passed, and we contact parents, or not parents, but their siblings and kids and all that. It ends up being, I think it touches us a lot of times more than it does them. They're very appreciative. They're like, well, we didn't think anybody ever noticed. So it's been great. I've enjoyed it, I guess, as much as anything we've done.
Now that's held usually at Second Baptist Church every year. Is that right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And as of right now, we're in limbo a little bit because we don't know what's going on. We're having a meeting, Hall of Fame meeting, I think the 24th is our next one. And we're going to throw out several ideas to each other and see where we go from there.
I encourage people, if they're here for a game, to check out all the plaques on the main hallway here at the high school,
Yeah.
and just learn a little bit of
Yeah.
the history here.
And also, you can look at the banners on the wall. That's one of the things we got to talk about. We would like to see the representation of all the old schools. And that's been a daunting task, trying to find actual records and all that to all these teams. And be surprised how many people out of the county will turn around and they'll start looking at those years and all that. And it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
We are, a traditionally rich sporting community. So
It's nice to pay some tribute to those years because there's so much history here prior to it being Muhlenberg County High School, obviously.
Yeah.
Prior to it being North and South, I think when I was growing up, the district tournament with 7 teams playing
That was wild.
that was a highlight
It
of the
was.
year.
Oh yeah.
It was wild.
If people don't, and a lot of people our age gets to, I remember they would have to put a rope around the gym, keep people off playing football. If you got too close, people would sometimes reach and try to smack the ball from you.
Yep.
I mean, everybody was just packed in.
I can remember Central City's gym just shoulder to shoulder. I mean, wedged in like sardines, and it was so loud and so rock. It was great.
Yeah.
It
And
was
the
great
following of the little communities, it was almost like Hoosiers.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
if
that's
Graham
right.
was playing
Yeah.
Drakesboro or something like that, they would all follow the bus over. I mean, it was really, really neat back then. I can remember, of course, at Muhlenberg Central, we always hosted district most years, and people would start lining up between 4 and 4:30 to get into the gym.
I wish I'd have known about the gutters and stuff there. I think climbing up and going through the window would have been easier than getting through the crowd many
Yeah.
times.
And I've always told this story. I loved having it at Muhlenberg Central, but I hate because and you guys may remember this, when visiting teams would come in during like the first game, they'd already have one game going, then Central City would walk in, the whole place would stop and boo
Yeah. Oh yeah.
or cheer, their fans
Yeah.
cheering. And I always thought, I play here. I just come in through the little back door. Nobody ever cheers or boos or anything.
Right.
And I always thought that was one of the neatest things when the other team got there, that you'd have to stop play to let them get to their locker room.
Yeah.
So that was pretty neat.
Or they would get there early and they would be watching the first game.
Mm-hmm.
And at halftime or right before halftime, they would leave to go.
Yeah.
And it was, everybody stopped what they were doing, it seemed like.
And we talk about evolution of sports. Like I said, you ran cross country in the fall, you played basketball, and you had to run cross country. That was your conditioning. There was no option there. You're on the cross country team. You just don't know it, but you are. Then we'd play basketball, then baseball, and that was it. And you advance now, all these years later, we've won, state championships in fishing. Who would have ever thought a fishing team or a trap shooting team or archery team? It's been pretty amazing.
Archery, we've had students global. Like
we've
go to the world
yes
competitions for archery. I mean, it is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and we've had several kids get archery scholarships.
Yep.
A lot of times they're full rides. Go shoot archery.
How many sports do we offer here?
Oh, golly.
Put you on the spot.
Between 22 and 24. It's time like if you figure cross country, they have a boys team and a same coach, but they have a boys team and a girls team. Soccer, boys team, so you have to count twice there for a lot of our sports. So we get up about 22, 24 sports.
So scheduling is a little bit of a challenge.
It can be. We try to stay, within a 50, 75-mile radius, when we play regular season games. When you go to tournaments, sometimes it's different. But we try to stay pretty close. That's more convenient for the fans, cheaper on transportation. There's a lot of factors go into it.
Do most of the individual coaches handle their own scheduling, or they leave it up to you, or a combination of the two?
It's kind of a combination. They make their schedule. They run it by me. I kind of look at everything, approve it, because I don't want to dictate to you who you're playing and where you're going. As a head coach, that's part of your job and opportunity. You got a good team, you may want to go play in Louisville to showcase your team. So I just think it's better a lot of times because that coach knows what level they're going to be on as far as ability that year. Because not like college, one year you have a great team, next year you may have a big graduation, you have nothing. So that's the part of high school sports I love, because I went to a coaching clinic one time when I was coaching basketball, and they said, what we're going to do here, and they had one of the big, Bobby Crimmins used to be at Georgia Tech. I do this, we bring our 5-man top here, and of course that's 6'10", 6'11". I'm thinking, okay, I'm coaching girls, my center's 5'6", and can't shoot from out there.
Right.
So you learn all this stuff, and I have always said, I really believe high school coaches, as far as adaptability, are better than college coaches, because college coaches get to fit their scheme.
Yeah.
And they can go out and recruit everywhere to fit what they're doing. We, as high school coaches, we have to adjust every year what we get. There may be years we have a big guy, may be years we don't have anybody but 5 guards. So you have to adjust in your thinking and coaching. And I think high school coaches are the best at that.
We've seen that here locally a lot. Coaches that are known for having kind of a certain system, but depending on the personnel that year, they may change completely.
And sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
And the good coaches do. They recognize what they've got, and they do adjust and adapt.
Yeah. So. How many years did you coach?
Long time. I coached basketball from 79 till, I guess, late 2007, 8, something like that. So I was, and then I helped when we started Muhlenberg County High School. I was assistant coach with Reggie Warford for several years there. So I've been around coaching for a long time. I've coached soccer. I've coached cross country. Won state championship in cross country. Of course, I've been part of many basketball teams. And now being athletic director, I get to be part of everything. Yeah. And I really, really enjoy that.
And sports that growing up you would have never thought you'd have been.
Oh, no. And now we haven't started this yet. Esports. It's basically, there's no travel. You're on a computer and you're playing a game against maybe somebody else, or you're trying to accumulate scores.
Really?
Yeah. So that
my son's going to be ecstatic if we ever start that.
Yeah. And so, like I said, I don't know if it'll be this year, because there is a cost with it. And when we do things, a lot of times we have to save the money and then have the money to be able to do these things. But esports is coming, I'd say, within the next 2 years.
Amazing.
There's a scoop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You heard it here
You
first.
heard it here first. Yeah.
That's great. Well, we would be remiss to some of our viewers if we didn't touch on a part of your story that really comes to the forefront near the end of every calendar year. And that's your nickname, your persona that sort of travels the halls with you here at the high school.
Oh, the Grinch.
The Grinch. Yes. Waiting for you to say it. So,
And those who really know me know that I'm really not that way at all.
Absolutely not.
But I think when we're in school, you have to have, and I guess it's acting, and you guys understand it more than any. A lot of what I do is acting because I want the kids to be able to come to me. At the same time, I want them to know that I'm not going to always be happy and lovable, but outside of school, I am. And those who really know me, they'll think, we never knew you was like that. So I think just a gimmick I started one time, and it kind of stuck. I kind of had it, I guess, when I was in high school. Me and a couple other guys, we'd be on the back of the buses going places. And as guys, we would tell jokes constantly. Well, we would decide no matter what the joke is, you cannot smile or laugh. Well, guys would start telling the jokes, and we would go, it's not even funny. And that's kind of where the Grinch came from. You know, just learning to be grumpy and grouchy at, snap of a finger, but it's all in that.
well, I think we've had you as a special guest star stroll across the stage a time or two.
Oh, yeah.
Your
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
performances. And I know you've offered your background vocals on a lot of the concerts and things. So
Well, I'm always willing to sing.
we want to keep you on standby
Yeah,
for that.
we had
I'm on
Belinda David,
standby
you
for
were
a
ready.
lot of people.
Yeah.
He was ready when we had Belinda Davis here. He was
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
come
I
sing with her.
thought she was great.
Yeah.
She was great.
The duet maybe the next time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
We want to give her time to prepare for such a thing.
Exactly.
The other thing that I see you do a lot in school too, really, I love it. If I'm having a bad day and I'm seeing you do this, it puts a smile on my face. It's the wrestling championship you do with some of the students, and fighting over the belt and just the whole acting thing. It's great. They love it, and I know you love it. And
And we bought some belts.
it's great.
And then, of course, we turn heel, then we'll be good for a while, then we'll be heel again. It's just like the real wrestling.
It's pretty good.
And one day this group will be our friends. The next day we're like, no, you're not part of us anymore. We're turning on you. So we have a lot of fun with it, dude. We have a lot of fun.
Well, we appreciate all that you do for our students here and all that you've done for the students in Muhlenberg County for years now.
Well, I really have done nothing. The students do it for me because when it touches your heart and you feel that warming, sometimes you get goosebumps from them, you're the one being rewarded. I think our job is to nurture, push them along, guide them sometimes in the right direction. But I love seeing them be successful and knowing maybe somewhere I have maybe that much involvement with them being successful. But I'm always offering free advice if they want it. And they better be ready for the truth.
Even if they don't want it.
Even if they don't want it, but I'm usually pretty blunt with it and say, this is who you are, this is where you want to be, this is what you got to do.
And you've been able to do that now for
30 years.
a couple different generations of
Yeah.
students.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel when you see the kids and now maybe even the grandkids of former students come through?
Oh, I love it because it always starts with, do you remember when? Which would be a great tune for a show too. But yeah,
Next episode.
next episode. But I've been honored, and it's been my privilege to walk along with all of my ex-students. So, and I've seen some become very, very successful. So it makes you feel good.
It does. I know just the few years we've been here
Right.
to see some of our students go on and some from this year that we know are going to do great things. It's exciting.
There's been a lot of talent come through our county.
Absolutely.
In every area you can think of.
Oh yeah, every area.
Sports, arts, music, you name it.
Present company not included. Of course.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
We do what we can. Those who can't do, teach. I've heard. So that's our role.
Yeah.
But well, thanks again for being a part of this today. Even wearing your Cardinals jersey. Well, despite that, we're still glad that you were here. And on behalf of TJ and myself, we want to thank you for sharing some time with us.
It's been
you
my
very much.
pleasure.
And thank you to all you for tuning in and spending part of your day 6 feet apart.
All right. Well, I've been down so long that my mind can't get no rest.